Good morning, good morning, good morning. We had a power cut this morning. That was not fun. So I had to make sure that my phone was charged. And then we had to get some Greggs because obviously we had to get Greggs. And then I had to eat the Greggs. Hi. So today we're going to do the wagon wheel rose, and we're going to do these 3 roses right here. How were the sausage rolls? They are so good. So I asked him to surprise me with a donut and to get some sausage rolls. And so we just scarfed them. And then David's taking Jessie out for a walk because she's really excited. And it was raining all morning, and then now it's finally just stopped. So he's like, I'm going to go take him out while you do your live thing, and then she won't be like prancing around. I said, well, that's nice. So he's braving the rain. Right, so what I suggest for this one is I'm going to show you how to do the lines. So when you do the woven wagon wheel, the wagon wheel rose. There we go. I did it. Hi, Meg. You need to have the spokes that come out. So you can choose any number of odd spokes. So it will work with 3, it will work with 5, 7, 9. If they're really big like this, you can do 12, you can do 13. It just depends on how big your circle is. So you might want to get your pen back out, or if you can do it freehand, you can do it freehand. It's up to you. But I like to have the lines. And I'm going to do this big one here first to show you how to do it, because one, it's easier to see. So you're just going to we're going to do 5 lines. And I like to do a circle in the middle so that I can add some French knots in the middle. If you don't want them, you can go straight to the point, straight down. So every one of these lines should be coming straight from the point, and they should be as evenly spaced as you can get them. If they're not super even, that's fine. Like, obviously these ones are a bit wider apart than these ones. It really won't matter in the end. But just try your best, yeah? And for this one, I'm going to use 3 strands, but just for the spokes, and then I'm going to switch to 6. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's really not that big of a flower, and I want to minimize the risk of snagging the threads when I go under them. So I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these ones just like this. You can do any color really for these. I'm going to move this one over a little bit because I can tell that it's not that evenly spaced. The other bad thing about losing power is that everyone's freaking house alarms are going off now. Oh. Right, so we've got our 5 spokes. I'm going to flip it over, make a knot, and cut that off. Only because I'm using 3 strands, like I said, because it's a small flower and I want to minimize the risk of me snagging my needle as I go round and round and round. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my needle. So this one is the sharp one, and this one is a blunt one, and you can see it's really not very sharp at all, whereas this one is. And the reason, like I said, is because when we go under, you really don't want to snag any of these threads here or the threads that you've already done. So I'm gonna get 6 strands of my color. I probably could have just done this one with the regular needle, but it's fun to change sometimes. It's a big one too. That needle's so big. Okay, so how to start is we're gonna go up between two, any of the two. So you can start here, it doesn't matter where you start. You just need to be kind of close in the middle and go around. And that will be the last time that we go through the fabric until the very end. So all of this is gonna be weaving. So it's gonna be under, over, under, over, under, over, all the way around, round and round and round and round and round until you fill it up. So under, over, under, over, under. Yes, Dawn, I hope you're feeling better today if you're still watching. And you don't want to pull it too tight or you're going to get this kind of triangle effect. You don't want the triangle in the middle. So you kind of want to just make it go round and round and round. And oftentimes I'll do a couple at once and kind of pull them like that. Yeah, so actually Making said, when I've tried this before, I use the I end. So she means by going like this and pushing it through backwards. You can do that as well if you don't have a blunt needle. And like I said before, like you don't have to have a blunt needle. You don't have to change it out. I especially like to use a blunt one or use the I if I have other things first. So a lot of times I'll do these, the very first thing I do on purpose so that I can just slide it through and go round and round and round and not have to really worry about it, about snagging any of these ones or any of these ones. Yeah, I'll try to like make sure I do the woven wagon wheel roses first. God, that's a mouthful, isn't it? I keep hitting the thing. Someone said, can you make the camera closer so we can see the stitches better? And so I've tried to put it closer in the last week, but let me tell you, I just keep hitting it with my other hand because there's like 6 inches between my phone and this. So I have to like make my hand smaller, I think. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. All right, any questions about this one so far? It's pretty self-explanatory. After you get a certain far, like I'm about halfway there, halfway far. I'm about halfway far, yeah. Make a real sentence, Tori. After you get about halfway, you can choose to either change your color. So meaning if you want to have like a dark red on the inside, but then maybe a light red on the outside, you can do that. Pink, not light red. Or you can change a whole other color. You could do pink and then, or red and then blue. You can use the variegated thread, which is this one, to make it go like darker and then lighter and then darker and then lighter. It's really up to you. You don't have to use the same color for all of it. Because I've already done more than one color here, I don't want to put another like double color here unless I'm going to do all of them with like a shading or a double color. So I'm just going to leave these ones plain. And I totally agree. I totally love this stitch. I think sometimes people can make them a bit too bunchy, and so they're too raised up because they pull too tight, so they have to go round and round and round and round and round again and again and again. The other thing to know about this stitch is that it does use a lot of thread. So don't start if you know that you might not be able to finish it in the same color and you only want to use one color. I also love the dark red. It's a little bit darker on the screen than it is in real life. I wanted to, so it was between this one and this one. So you can tell this one's just a little bit darker than this one. Just a little bit. But I wasn't sure I would have enough of this to do all three. I mean, I'm sure I do, but I wasn't sure. So I decided to use the slightly lighter one. Just because better safe than sorry. So now we've got the rooster in the backyard cock-a-doodle-dooing, and now we've got people's house alarms going off because of the power cut. So my day is gonna go well. We're also going to a cousin's house today for a quote-unquote Christmas lunch or something like that, where everyone's going to just like have nibbles and have a little chat and catch up and everything. But we always try to do it around Christmas time, and everyone's schedules this year were like really busy. I lost my spoke. So you want to keep going around and around and around and around and around. Let me see if I can't. Yeah. Until you can't see the spokes anymore. And I'll show you what some people like to do on the outside as like a different decorative stitch. Because sometimes you'll be able to see the spokes. Let me just go around like 2 more times. And then I'll show, some people will do like a stem stitch around the outside. And like, I feel like you'll know when it's enough. Oh, thank you. She says that looks so nice. The color is so bold and beautiful. Okay, so that's pretty much done. I'm gonna change back to the other needle just to show you, because so it'll be easier. Sometimes people will do a stem stitch around the outside, and it gives a nice little effect. If you don't feel like it, you can just put the needle back down and tie a knot really carefully on the back. So if you pull too much, because these are just laying on top, on the back, you can see the only stitches that actually went through the fabric are the ones, the spokes, the 5 spokes that we made in the beginning. So these right here, if you get them snagged, like if you wanted to do this on a jacket or a shirt or something, yeah, I wouldn't recommend this stitch for that, because if I pulled even one of these strands up, it would make all of it tighter, which means that the stuff in the middle will get squished, and then the stuff on the outside will have a big gap because you've pulled one of the threads. So keep that in mind if you want to put this on like a wearable type item, right? So the stem stitch are on the outside. If you want to do it, you're just going to do like exactly what we did. You're going to put it right back down to make a loop, and then come back up, being careful not to snag any threads, and you're just going to pull it and then go around. And this one will go back up where the first stitch went down. And again, you don't have to do this. This is just what some people like to do. Plus, it will help to hide the wagon wheel spokes. God, is it ever gonna stop? So I'm trying to like turn it so you can see like how it looks on the side. Oops, I almost snagged it there. And when you get back to where you started, you're just going to kind of put it in at an angle to hide that very last thread. Put it down flat. And we done. There you go. So let me see if I can't. Can you see that? Maybe. And when you flip it over, that's what it will look like, because I've gone around the outside with the stem stitch. And then you're going to do a very gentle knot. A gentle knot. Don't pull too hard. Where's my scissors? And then that's it. There it is, my lovelies. And you can see it's a very raised, is it gonna focus? Maybe not. It's a very raised stitch. So all the other ones are quite flat, but this one comes up quite a bit from the fabric. All right, I won't do all of them, just because if you've seen it once, you've seen it again. Do you know what I mean? I got something funky going on there. I don't know what it is. And then later we can go back and put on the detail stay some French knots in the middle, or some people like to do just a satin stitch to kind of fill it up. Like I said, some people don't like a hole in the middle. They'll put their lines all the way to the very end. From the end to the middle, I mean, so that there's no space at all. So yeah, that's all for today. Easy peasy. I'll give you a couple more minutes in case you have questions. No, I didn't make the lines on this one. And I know I did not pick a giveaway winner yet, because yesterday we were out for most of the day. David was golfing. So I'll go through and announce it today. And I'll try to share as many posts in my stories today as I can. If you do tag me in your stories, make sure that you tag me and not just put the Barmy Fox, because I can't share them. I'd have to screenshot and then share it, and then you won't get a notification for it. Could you do 7 spoke to start? You can do 7. If you want to do 7, you can. It wouldn't necessarily make it flatter or fuller. It will give the same effect. I can do it here if you want. Let's see here. Let me just check. So another cheat for if you want to go from here to here, but you don't want the string to show, is to go down and just tuck it up under some of the other ones. See? And now I can go and do this one without the thread showing. So let's see here. You should tell us of how you met your hubby and the story of why you moved to the UK. Oh my God, we'd be here for ages. I will tell it. I will try to tell it quickly though. Does it always have to be an odd number of spokes? Yes, it does not work for an even number. So this one I'll do 7. So normally 7 would be like a big one, like this one, or even a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do the 7 spokes like this. Like I said, I mean, it really doesn't make it any fuller or any flatter, because you still have to go around the same amount of times. Some people always do 7, like no matter how small it is. But if you do have a big flower, you will need to upgrade it. You know what I mean? You will have to up it to 9 or 11, depending on how big it is. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, the only way that you know how many spokes to do, whether it's 5 or 7 or 9, is to just do it. Sometimes I'll draw the spokes out and I'll think, oh, that's too many, or that's too few. I'll add them, or use the blow dryer to heat. Good morning. Heat erase. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, I love this deep red. Okay. Let me get another thing of thread. So I was just going to say the story time. So the story is that I went to go work in China in 2010. And at the end of 2011, I got a job as an art teacher, which is what I am trained to do. That's what I went to university for. And so I was really excited to like stay there and like do my art teacher job. So I went back home to America for Christmas. After Christmas, I started my job as an art teacher. And in February, I learned that there was a partnership with Warwick University, which is just a university here in England, so that the teachers could go and learn how to be a teacher in China. And so David was one of the 5 people picked to come to China, and the first class that he went to go, the first class that he went to go learn how to be a teacher at, was my art room. You work at Warwick University. Oh, well, yeah, that's where David went. So I'm not sure if they have the partnership still, but we had teachers, and like for all the years that I worked there, we had a set of teachers who came from Warwick. But anyways, so he came in to learn how to be an art teacher, because in England, the class teacher teaches everything. So if you teach like year 6 or grade 5 or whatever it is, you'll teach like PE, which in America would be gym. You teach science, art, music, computers. You teach everything. So he came into my classroom to learn how to be a teacher, and we just really hit it off. So at the end of the 6 weeks, he had a job at my school, and he was going to come back and live with me in August. And then from there, we were there until 2014, and that's when we got married in America, and then we moved. We were going to move immediately after, so we got married in the summer in July, and we moved all of our stuff out and everything. Yeah, Warwick. And when I went to go come back and live here with him and his family and everything right after the wedding, they thought that I was going to like live here forever, when actually Americans get 90 days or however much it is. And they kind of misinterpreted what I was saying. So before we went on our honeymoon, they like took my passport and like kept me in questioning for like 6 or 8 hours, and it was crazy. So then I applied for the spouse visa, since I basically got deported. And then so I finally got that in about 8 months later. And then we came here in September 2015. He came back earlier. His dad was diagnosed with cancer in January of 2015 and passed away in May the same year. So I wasn't actually here yet. I hadn't gotten my visa at that point. So, and there's like a lot more, there's a lot more to the story, but that's basically like the short version. So I guess you can see that it's still going to build up. I won't do the whole thing because I think it's just going to be like, it'll take me forever. But yeah. Did I skip 2? That's the only thing when I have 7 and I'm used to doing 5, so I'm always like, did I skip some? And if you do skip some, it's okay. Like, it's just, you just keep going round and round and round and it'll fix itself. Or you can undo it, which is a pain in the butt. But yeah, it's quite funny when everyone's like, oh, you're from America and he's from England and how did you guys meet? And I'm like, oh, we met in China. And they're like, oh, that's odd. I'm like, yeah, it's real. It's a strange story, but that's what we've got. Aw, Dawn, you're so sweet. She says, well, I'm glad you're in the UK. I'm glad I'm in the UK too. I quite like it here. So yeah, any other questions? I'm going to go off. I don't know what we're going to do today before that. I've got some orders I have to do, some painting orders, some wood slice orders. And I finally got caught up with like all of my hoops and stuff. And then I got another order for 3. So have you watched Chin Tui on YouTube? The story of how she met her husband is hilarious. Ooh, I'm going to have to watch. I also love love stories, Louise. I think they're so sweet. Right, I'm going to have to fix that later and go around in Chi Nu Tui. One word. I'm definitely going to look that up. And now the sun's coming in, so it's making it like hard to see. All right. Well, that is the woven wagon wheel stitch. I will upload this onto YouTube. Share as much as I can share today. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great day. Have a great day too, Meg. I can't wait to see more pictures of your puppy. Alrighty then. I will see you later. Bye.